Hey, what's up, Virgo? Welcome back to another timeless general tarot reading. Sorry it's been a while. I took another break from doing tarot, but apparently it's in the stars right now to do some divination, as I heard from my father. So here I am, going to be doing another tarot reading for you. So, per the usual, I'm going to be using my anime tarot deck to start off finding some core energy. So let me see what I can find for you. Five of Swords, Seven of Wands. Very conflicting energy. Definitely not peace and quiet. Definitely a lot of confliction in those two cards. A lot of standing your ground. Might not be what you're looking for. Three of Wands reversed. Energy that could be a little toxic. Might be something that you could grow out of. Seeing a more toxic future for yourself. Something you should do better. You should see a brighter future for yourself. And there's a chance of it really stagnating if you do not. A lot of resistance to that change. A lot of like outlook in the wrong direction and how to do better. Kind of interesting. A lot of critical energy. Sorry if you weren't planning on hearing such a critical tone for your reading. It's not everybody's cup of tea to hear that kind of thing, but sort of what came out here. Wow. Five of Swords out again. Once again, a lot of reverse energy. Maybe very self-centered. It definitely... If the truth of the matter is, if you're in that self-centered energy really hard like that, it's not productive. It's not proactively productive. It's kind of what I'm seeing here, off the top. Let's see if I can find anything else. Okay, so here's a solo card poked out a little bit. Three of Swords. You might not like how this sounds, but for the sake of your growth and for your well-being, it's kind of putting your heart aside a little bit and going with a more rational approach on all of this might make a difference. So it's kind of a sign that you're not really embracing the healthier emotionality that you could. There's an emotionality that's lacking. Something that you think you're acting on healthy emotions and you might not actually be doing that. Is kind of what I'm seeing here. You might think you're introspecting and growing and stuff, but all this energy is suggesting that you've got it a little backwards. It's not actually serving you as much as you think it is. So, man, I'm really sorry. Really sorry about that. It's not fun to hear. It's not fun to, it's not a fun expression, like... But if you keep doing this, it's like... If you keep going down those routes, the consequence is there's like material penalties for that. It's harder for you to receive material stability. It's harder for you to receive material abundance, material grace. It's easier for you to feel like you are kind of stuck. It's easier for you to feel like you're in a place that can't get any better. It's easier for you to feel as if you've been kind of left out. But a lot of that energy that I was discussing earlier is really abrasive. And it's not somebody's first inclination to just like be walked all over and then be given things. Or want to give things. So very disappointing. Very disappointing for you if you can't grow out of that. 5 of Swords again. This time though in the upright, and we have strength on the split here. So it's like there are times where you stand your ground, and there's times where it serves you, and there's times where it doesn't. When it does serve you is when you are... It'll start to serve you better if you can really find your inner strength. If you can... And it's kind of... Inner strength is cliche, so more specifically, like... If you can embrace the inner fortitude required to do what is better for you, what will achieve greater stability in your experience, then you'll have a better shot at kind of taking those more abrasive routes when they're necessary. If you just default to them and you don't use any rationality, it can be very self-centered, very self-serving, and that can work against itself. Yet, there of course are times where you've got to do that. So you might think like, ah, crud, I've got to do that. But in your experience, it might not be working out for you. And what I'm seeing here is that you've got to take a more realistic approach to that. You can't just recklessly do that whenever you feel like. It's more nuanced than that. Standing your ground and knowing when to cut ties with others. The timing has to be really good. It's not just, you can't just do it all the time. Or you can't just do it for absolutely any reason or just whenever you feel like it. It's not very conducive for being realistic. So let me see if I can find anything else here. So there's some hope here. There's some hope if you can kind of twist around on the kind of the realisticness of what you're trying to achieve. So this kind of popped out. 6 cups. So once again, like at first your cards were much tougher. They're kind of turning around a little bit. So I like to read that as a sign that you are opening up to what I'm suggesting. Because now we're seeing 6 cups here, and that's like you kind of reminiscing on old times that are good. So just kind of focusing on the positive. It's like, instead of being really immersed in like the utter reality and the utter negativity of where you are right now, this is actually an interesting sign that one way for you to kind of embrace your inner strength is to maybe remember times in the past where you did that and it served you well. Or remember times in the past where somebody did that for you and you really appreciated it. For some reason this is calling you to re-embrace a more positive emotionality and to sort of remember and reflect on how those things can make you feel, you know, whether you give them or you receive them. So another interesting sign. Let's see, on the split here, Death reversed. It can be a really stagnant card. It can, to a certain extent, mean getting over something. It could also just mean that you're paralyzed, that you're just kind of stuck in something that needs to change, but you aren't changing it, or you're resisting the change. So kind of what I'm seeing here is like part of how you... Oh, and also I'm also seeing King of Pentacles in reverse. So that kind of comes down to... Man, it really is just some very, very critical... This is a very critical reading. Very critical of your character. King of Pentacles reversed, since it's Pentacles, that's Virgo. And Virgo... Typically, King of Pentacles in reverse is somebody who's like really materialistic, like toxically materialistic. And if they're toxically materialistic, that can lead to some of that initial toxic energy. And then if they're getting things, then there's like they can very easily resist certain forms of growth that would require them to make sacrifices like that. And a lot of that is like kind of what I'm seeing here. It's like 3 of Swords again on the bottom. That came out again. So another instance of not being like very rashly emotional. Another sign of growing out of doing whatever you feel like to a certain extent. Because if you do that, you'll have better quality experience. You will be more pleasant to be around. You can be more gracious in a lot of ways. You can ultimately resonate on a level that will earn you more graciousness and allow you to have some like more reciprocity in those feelings, which is definitely where you want to be. Ooh, and then right here on the split, the lovers. So maybe you're looking for, maybe you even are looking for love of some kind, and maybe that's something that you're missing, you're lacking, or you're looking for. But you're not going to be able to get there if you're in those more toxic and critical energies. You're going to have to be, once again, you're going to have to find the graciousness if love is what you're looking for. And it seems like you might have even been very disappointed in love historically, and maybe you've been disappointed by it. These cards are suggesting, though, that there is still hope on the horizon. They are suggesting that kind of expanding your mind a little bit, or expanding your outlook, finding a more positive, more idealistic approach to things would allow you to see where there's more options than you're letting yourself believe in. And combined with 5 of Cups, 6 of Cups, the lovers, that's a lot of emotional well-being. The 5 of Cups not so much, but the idea being that the well-being is actually closer than you think, but you're stuck in the negative feelings. But you don't have to soak in the negative feelings. You can proactively find something better. You can proactively use your conscience to focus and manifest and create something better for yourself. So interesting. What are these? Okay, so that tried to come out again. So now we're looking at like sort of what I was suggesting. You're going to have to apply some manifestational capacity. What you are doing now, the leading energies into this was like, it was very critical. It was very rash, very abrasive for other people. But now the energies are turning around, so it's almost as if maybe I'm getting through to you, because a lot of it's turning around here. It went from a lot of negative to a lot of positive. And here I'm looking at, what I'm seeing here is it's going to take some manifestational capacity of your own. It is going to take some effort. It is going to take some energy. But it can yield something good, and it can even yield a lot of confidence for you. It can really shift your outlook to one of believing that you actually can achieve these things. And it can get you interested in looking into your future, because you're finally manifesting what's good. You're finally able to achieve these things as you desire them. And that can definitely work in your favor. So, all right, let's see. So I'm going to see if there's anything else that wants to come out here. Otherwise, you're not going to be happy. And you're going to be really drained and really bitter. And you're going to for all the energy you put into what you're trying to achieve, it's not going to come to you as easy. Ooh. And yeah, you're just gonna, you can't get stuck making the same mistakes. You cannot get stuck being stagnant in doing these things that you need to change. You can't get stuck doing these same things that don't serve you. You can't resist doing them. You can't resist doing what's better for you anymore. If you really want to achieve this well-being for yourself, you are going to have to consider changing to some extent. And I don't like the word changing is a little, people kind of get defensive at that, so the term I prefer to use is grow. And sometimes to grow, you do have to change yourself. You do have to leave behind the things that aren't good for you. And sometimes you think something is good for you, and part of that growth process is realizing what needs to be done differently and what needs to be left behind. And for you in particular, whomever this is for, whomever resonates with this, there are a lot of warnings here that you have the capacity to really latch into these behaviors that aren't actually going to serve you very well. But if you can figure out how to grow around that, it might be something that you're not used to doing. You might not be very experienced going down this kind of new path of growth, but at the end of the day, you're seeking you're seeking something better. You know you're looking for something that's even better. You know you want to feel better. You know that there's got to be something better. And you still have some work to do, it looks like. But you are very poised here to absorb what I'm suggesting and make the difference. And when you can do that, you're going to feel better. You're going to feel more in control of yourself. You're going to feel more you're going to feel as if you can actually control feeling good, that you can achieve feeling good, and not just feeling pleasure, but feeling spiritual well-being, which those are different. The material pleasure and spiritual well-being are different things. So, all right, Virgo. Let's do one more little look here, but unless something very clear comes out, I think I'm just going to call this because I think that probably makes sense. It's pretty straightforward. Hopefully it resonates with somebody. It'd be pretty sweet. Because that's what I want. I want people to resonate with this stuff and grow and change for their own better. That's what matters to me. Alright, so I'm going to call it there. Thank you very much for being here, Virgo. Take care and good luck.